And on that note, we are joined by our guest, Nirmala Verma, CEO and co-founder of Primus Partners. And also, I have on the screen joining my colleague Ambrasan, joining us from Chennai. First to you, Mr. Verma, how does the industry see this budget that was presented, tabled in the Lok Sabha by the Finance Minister?
Clearly, this is a budget which lays the foundation for long-term growth. And that's the direction of Viksit Bharat. I have said this before, in fact, before that we expected a budget which will help transition to Viksit Bharat. And at the top of that transition is the discipline on fiscal deficit. And this is important because with the glide path that the FM has given us, I think there will be more private investment because government borrowing will not crowd out private investment, and that's very critical for an economy, for growth. And this economic growth is really about two or three things. Number one, and the budget addresses all of them. Number one, as we grow, we need to create job pathways for people who are in the farm sector, agriculture sector, and that's manufacturing, and especially MSME. And that's something that the finance minister had addressed very significantly. But the second more important part to me is we're entering the world of creative economy where skills and IP are critical. And therefore, the investment and the allocation that the FM has made in both those areas, promoting funds for innovation, looking at funds for variety of sectors is very critical, especially skills. And I think that lays the foundation for future growth. I would also want to add a couple of other things that we don't talk about, which are smaller points, but I think very significant for long-term growth. I think the entire aspect of certainty and simplification of processes is critical. And I think over a period of time, whether it is custom duty and separately GST through the GST Council, we are bringing in a certain amount of certainty. And I think that industry welcomes. And I would finally say, in many other sectors, for example, housing, affordable housing is focused, but he's also brought in the aspect of rental housing, because that's really where the market is growing, which is where private investment can come through, which is where young people who do not want ownership but want better housing, or laborers working in industrial park. So I think there has been a whole host of measures. Big point is that this is an economy in transition. There is consistency in our approach, and there is a lot for everyone in this sector.
Okay. Also, Mr. Verma, the employment, generating enough employment at this point in time remains a key concern for the government. How do you see this budget addressing that?
I think within a minute of her speech, she's talked about jobs and employment. So clearly, that's the top of the agenda for government, right? The apprenticeship program helps drive that. I have always voted for that our skilling system needs to be demand-driven, not supply-driven. We need to put money in the hand of the employer and the employee directly so that there is money to be paid for skill premium. I think that's the scheme that has been launched, and it will benefit MSME who often would want to save every penny and therefore has been reluctant in investment in human capital. I think that addresses it directly. I do believe it will have a long-term impact. In the short term, some of the expenditure or the tax slab change as well as the standard deduction hopefully drives growth. But I would I've said this, many years later, we're going to look back at this budget as to say, this is where we made the transition towards a economic system which is more demand-driven rather than supply-driven. Okay. If I can add one more point,
please.
Amrit, there was many concern that because there are elections coming in 4 states, we have coalition government, that a lot of freebies will happen. I think the government has done what is required to be done, but it has done so by investing in capital expenditure. Even in a state like Bihar, where a significant amount of money has been allocated, it's all around capital expenditure. And Bihar is one of the poorest states in the country. And capital expenditure to me is the recipe or the foundation for long-term growth. So kudos to the FM on that as well.
Okay. Let me bring in my colleague, my co-reporter Anbarsan, who's joining us from Chennai. Anbarsan, give us a sense of what is the mood of the people on the streets of Chennai that you've spoken to. Though the capital tax, the tax on capital gains has gone up, but again, the minister announced, reductions and as well as increase in the personal income tax. I mean the benefit they get on income tax under the new regime.
Yeah. As Union Finance Minister said, the theme of the budget mostly focused on employment, skilling, MSME and middle class. We can talk with earlier the industries, particularly CII and South India Chamber of Commerce, and they all said that this budget more focusing on the continuous growth of country, whichever they laid the road for last 10 years, the union budget they given, and this budget also along with that budget it's a continuity of that. And also the budget this time more focused on the employment, and the various industries leaders are said that the employment category which has not been focused on that much earlier, after giving incentive and also the new entrance of the job market, they given a one month of wages and also the EPFO incentive and also contribution by the government. So these all continuously will be giving a boost to the employment side, and also focusing on skilling. Particularly the industrial leaders have said that we didn't get that much of skilled employed from the society, and after this much of Union Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that around 5 lakh crore has been given, 5 lakh crore has been allocated for skilling employees for next few years. So after focusing on this, the angel tax abolition, this will be continuous boost, and we can see that the industry on startup, wherever the new startup are giving this angel tax abolition, may given a boost to that. And also this continuous push on infrastructure level, and as a Tamil Nadu, one of the industrial state, the industry around MSME sector itself 45,000 of companies are there, and this push for the infrastructure around 11 lakh crore has been given. We can see there is no particular state centric announcement. We didn't get any of that, but this more focus on around 11 lakh crore, so we can get more from that. And also the railway and various projects, particularly focusing on the infrastructure, we may get more implementation from that. And continuously we talk with the industrial leader, they said that the SIDB branches, very specific announcement also came from that. SIDB branches may be open on various circles of across country, so it may easy the company to approach for the more fund allocation, so it will increase more opportunity for the industry to get the more funds. And also particularly we talk with the public regarding that reduction and also increasing towards 75,000 on TDS on the personal income. So people are very happy that they may save more money, and as said that around 17,500 rupees will be more saving for the public, as finance minister said in the budget. So the people are in Tamil Nadu and Chennai, they very much happy regarding this. And also state centric budget, there is no announcement, so we may see after the final details from the announcement, we can get any more on that. Back to you.
Okay. Thank you, Anbarsan, for joining us from Chennai. I'll come back to you, Mr. Verma. If we talk about the finance minister lists out her 9 priorities and says, so if we go, one of the priorities is productivity and resilience in agriculture. So what kind of generation reforms is the government looking at in seeing that agriculture becomes more productive. It is a lucrative opportunity for both the farmer and also for the consumer. The food prices, for example, stabilize.
Yeah, Amrit, that's a really important point. Look, for India to grow, for people to spend, agriculture has to do well. And I often say agriculturists are the true entrepreneurs of India because they're taking risk on everything from climate to seeds to the markets, on everything. I think fundamentally 3 points come to my mind in her speech, and rightly so. One, she's spoken a lot around the new varieties which are climate resilient. And that's really important. We've all seen in our lifetime the change in climate and the impact it has for all of us. And I think that's really important for us. I think the second point is something that has been a continuation. There is support for farmers, especially through DBT and other measures that continues to be in place. We need to look at the fine print in terms of the allocation, but that continues to be the case. And third is when she's spoken about cooperatives and FPOs, which really are the core infrastructure at the level of villages that need to step in for farmers to have a better realization of their produce. And I think strengthening those, which has been promised and which has been said, will go a long way, because end of the day, with improved connectivity, with better infrastructure at for farm produce, we can hope to get, or farmers can hope to get, better return for their produce. But for that, cooperative system as well as FPOs have to come together.
All right, Mr. Nirmala Verma, thank you very much for joining us for the moment. We leave it there. Thank you very much.